should you sell all of your Bitcoin for altcoins right now? Now, if you're new to the channel, I'm the Jack Crypto Guy. I've been in crypto since 2016. And if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed, smash the like button, share this video with a friend. I'm going to be doing a giveaway at 1,000 subs, so be on the lookout for that. Now, obviously the title is selling all your Bitcoin for altcoins for Q4 to maximize your gains. Now, long story short, no, I would not suggest doing this. I always maintain at least a 30 to 40% Bitcoin heavy portfolio, no matter what kind of season it is. And I like to keep that a little bit on the higher side, especially like in the bear trends and the, different parts of the 4-year cycles. Now, obviously, everybody is speculating that Q4 is going to be completely bullish for altcoins. We see Bitcoin obviously making all-time highs, minus a few, leverage flushes in the market. We have stocks at all-time high, gold at all-time high. And, obviously the next logical prediction is that the altcoins are going to go crazy. Now, I wouldn't put it past the market makers and the powers that be in crypto to, kind of trick everybody into thinking that, everything's going to go completely crazy for Q4, take on more risk, get more exposure to the altcoins so you can maximize your gains. And I think that when it comes to your personal investments, obviously I can't give financial advice, but you always want to do something that's going to make the most amount of sense for you. And I think that, remaining heavy in Bitcoin is always going to be important because, if you look at any kind of long time, technical analysis or charts paired against Bitcoin, you'll notice a majority of them kind of go to zero, or they go, they're just kind of on a long-term downtrend. And when it comes into your philosophy or whatever you think that whatever your plan is when it comes to accumulating Bitcoin or crypto in general, I think a lot of people want to, obviously make as much money as possible in the shortest amount of time, but a lot of people want to preserve their wealth. And so I think that when you have a well-balanced portfolio, this allows you to do both. And, there's just a lot more utility when it comes to Bitcoin, whenever it comes to taking profits or, borrowing against your Bitcoin, maybe for, financing real world stuff where you don't have to really, realize so much capital gains. And it just creates a lot of flexibility when it comes to your portfolio. Not to mention, it doesn't hurt as bad whenever the crypto markets start bleeding. So would I go into altcoins? I think that if you're somebody that has no exposure to altcoins, it might make sense to allocate just a small portion of your portfolio just to have, a little bit of upside, assuming that the altcoin market does pick up. Now, obviously there's a few altcoins in particular that are getting a lot of attraction, namely BNB. Binance is, smashing all-time high after all-time high. And it comes as no surprise because Binance is pretty much the biggest exchange. They're an offshore exchange, so they're not really subject to the regulations that most of these, Coinbases and Krakens and all that kind of stuff are privy to. So not to mention, they also try to flush the markets a lot with, Wintermute, and they're, in my opinion, they're kind of a manipulated firm that kind of controls everything in their favor. And I think that when you look at CZ and his kind of intentions, I think that he does have a bias towards his own crypto, right? I think whenever we see Solana making a push towards BNB, it always seemingly happens that, Solana gets kind of flushed and they kind of put pressure on it to go down. And BNB kind of goes sideways or it goes up. And I think now, considering that BNB just passed XRP, I think that CZ has a plan that he just wants to create a dominance over BNB in particular. So I wouldn't necessarily allocate into something that's, all kind of at all-time highs. So that's something to be cautious about. But it does signify that there is a lot of appetite when it comes into the altcoins, because when you see something like BNB reaching all-time highs, logically speaking, you're going to look for other altcoins to start doing the same. And, obviously Solana has had a lot of attention throughout this whole bull cycle. I wouldn't really be looking into old dinosaur coins like XRP, Cardano, things of that nature. Obviously I know that that's not a popular, take, and a lot of people on this platform typically hold these assets. But if you look over the price appreciation since, previous bull cycles and the inception of those coins, they haven't really done much. Like, obviously they've caught a bid, but when you compare those to like Solana, that's gone from, it was at $250 last cycle. It crashed all the way down to $9. It went up to $300. Now it's back to about $230, $220. You've massively outperformed, even if like you're in Ethereum, right? Like Ethereum's gone up like crazy in the last cycles, and it's still gone from, in the 1,500 range to close to 5,000, and it's kind of hovering around the 4,500 region. So I think that it's really important to take out your bias and your emotions and look at the trends that are happening and look at what coins are being talked about the most, because we've never had as many altcoins in this cycle as we previously had. And so by definition, that means that your coin has to be exceptional. It has to be talked about. It has to have some sort of use case or, some kind of tangibility where like people are actually using this, because otherwise it's just not going to catch any bids. And I don't talk negatively of other cryptos because I don't like them. My whole purpose is to help you guys make money. And you're not going to do that in, in my opinion, cryptos that have a lot of baggage or no attention or anything like that. Also, not to mention, whenever it comes to the cycles, I think that this bull run is going to be completely different, especially in the the bearish trend, I'm sorry. What I mean by this is, obviously we have the Bitcoin treasury companies, we have asset treasury companies that are accumulating things like Solana or Sui or Hyperliquid, things of that nature. And I think that that's gonna create some buy pressure coming into any kind of bearish trends. So I think that they're gonna fare a little bit better than any other altcoins that don't have these spot ETFs or Bitcoin treasury companies or anything like that. So I would just be on the lookout, and don't be afraid to pivot your viewpoint and, maybe realize that some trends are changing, and you always want to ride the narrative, make as much money as possible, and then get out. So I hope this content helps you. Again, smash the like button, share this video with a friend, and let me know what you all want to see next. Bye.